Hello, everyone. Welcome to another very special episode of the Two Fish at the Table Poker Podcast, where we're going to be commentating semi-live, for now, not live. We will eventually get live on the 1K Seniors Championship Day 4. Not quite the final table, but the action building up to the final table. I'm one of your hosts, East Coast Sam.
And I'm one of the other hosts, Legend of one of Poker Stars. And today we're also going to, some of our family are moving on to the next level of their education. And in college campuses, sexual assault is a horrible issue that needs to be addressed. And whenever somebody comes forward with their story, it's important that we really listen to the stories from the felt.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Uh, yeah, we're talking about stories from the felt, which is a little, how do you want to describe it? Sort of poker go show thing that they decided to have in their vault. Made a couple of years ago, fairly sort of sleek editing style, but we'll be talking about that in lulls in the coverage. So I told Ben before this, but I did want to talk about one hand as we're fast forwarding through here. Not this hand, but a hand that will be coming up that I do want to see Ben's reaction to. But I haven't seen most of this coverage thus far, so it'll be exciting to watch.
Yeah, and I do want to clarify that I'm completely dark onto the action of this content here, and Pokergo owns the rights to all of this content. We're not it belongs to them. This is not monetized. If they want me to edit this footage in any way, fine, okay, but this is our little disclaimer here that we are in our full rights as poker fans to enjoy their content and to share our take on the poker. Oh wow, look at that drawing dead.
Yeah, yikes. Yeah, I didn't see this hand, so wow.
Yeah. So again, I believe that today began with like only a handful of tables left. I think like 4 tables at the start of the day. So they're playing down to three. This already is three, but I have it on mute right now, so we can talk a bit before we actually maybe comment a bit more on what they're saying and stuff. But back to your point about stories from the felt here. So there was kind of 2 seasons of these sort of not quite stories, but kind of just people providing sound bites about a shared topic, with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions here and there. Each season had about 6 segments to them, with seasons 2 episodes running a little bit longer than how seasons 1 did. And so, right off the bat here, the first one was about Bobby's Room, sort of a story of the origin of the big game with the Mirage, with a couple of players in particular providing sound bites, that being Elliot Lesra, Jen Harmon, Nick Schillman. And it felt like to me it was just more of a collection of sound bites than a true story per se.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't really super in love with this particular one. I'm sure you're probably in the same case. I mean, it's only 5 minutes long, so it's not necessarily the biggest deal in the world, but nonetheless, I kind of had a tally of hits, misses, and mez for these stories from the felt, and this one fell into the miss column for me.
Yeah, this was again, yeah, all these shorts are pretty breezy. They're nothing too substantial, which is fine. Again, they're not intended to be anything super over the top. It is nice that they got a bunch of names like Ellie Larson and Nick Schulman, as you mentioned. Also, Steve Zolotow, who was my favorite interviewee throughout both seasons of Story from the Phil. He just brought, he just had all these stories and brought an energy that some of the other interviews didn't have. But yeah, I mean, nothing super special about this one. I have a couple stories about playing in Bobby's room and these poker players who, many people know building their skills and repertoire, and also a rapport with each other, that they got to know each other as the game evolved in those early days, before the internet, before Moneymaker. So yeah, it was nice.
And then so moving on into the next episode, which was the big reveal, a little bit longer, 7 minutes long, really just kind of a rehashing of information we learned in a previous poker documentary that we had covered in a
Yeah.
more documentary special. So really, for me, again, had I not seen the documentary first, I might have liked this a bit more. But because it was just kind of old information for me, I wasn't really all that on board with this one
This
either.
is the hand, Ben.
Okay, ooh,
Aces versus kings.
big stacks. Looks like 2 of the 3 big stacks at this table right now,
Yep.
Baker and Fetch.
Yep. You can turn the sound on for this too.
I'll turn the sound. Okay, guys.
He is pressure. All in from Fetch. Oh my god, it is. Here we go. We have 20 million in the middle. Oh my gosh. Hello. It's like the fourth hand of play and total chaos at the table here. What a cooler if you are Baker.
For 20 million chips. I mean, this is so sick.
That's 80 big blinds, 82 big blinds right there.
Fetch will be the chip leader in the tournament.
I assume they had king counts. Why else would
Jack 3-10. Right. Some backdoor possibilities, of course, clubs are. Sorry, no flush draws in play here, but a king would do it for Baker, but just 2 outs twice. Oh, okay. And backdoor straight draw coming into play here. An ace 4 and 9 would give Baker the win hand. Also, he'll be on the rail. Let's see the river card. Yeah, it is a king. Baker thinks he won, but that's a straight for Fetch. Oh my god, he makes Broadway. What a disgusting way to go out.
Baker thought he won the hand because the king on the river.
He
realized that it was actually a straight for the other guy.
These two stacks close enough that the dealer's quickly going to count them down. Isn't it bad enough already to get kings versus aces and then you get busted like this?
Crazy. Like there he's just standing there. He feels so awkward.
That's pretty brutal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ouchies. But again, you gotta with these tournaments. I think I don't know the exact structure of this tournament, but you really gotta accumulate chips in a hurry if you want to win. So I understand playing kings like that, but it's pretty brutal. And I guess maybe the seniors event they don't have this internal calculator of which outs are for them when they're playing, so they forget. Oh, that's a bad card for me. Oops.
Yeah, I mean it was 40 big blinds shoved with kings there. So I mean it's like, ugh.
There's Billy Baxter right there in the black. I guess black and no design on the front. He was at the same day 3 table as our friend Adam Grossack in the 2021 main event on during that famous day that I was there with him. So I guess I'm rooting for. I mean, he didn't knock out Adam, so I guess it's not a villain in my eyes. So I guess I'll root for him. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, he's an old school legend. He's had 7 World Series of Poker bracelets. He's a Hall of Famer. He's definitely somebody who has paid his dues to poker, and it's nice to see him in this.
Yeah. So well, it's kind of a little bit of a lull, more lull in action than Kings versus Aces. The third episode from Stories from the Felt. One of my favorites probably of this entire batch here. It's called The Bike. Yeah. So it's 9.5 minutes long, so a little bit longer, still pretty short if you're watching at 2x speed like I always do. This one is an interesting story between this biking from Las Vegas to Beverly Hills in less than 48 hours between Brian Rast and Bill Perkins after Dan Bilzerian had done it once prior in a previous bet. And I actually kind of like this. I really thought that this could have been like an amazing feature-length documentary had the forethought to kind of encapsulate this entire thing in like a more raw, lived-in sort of introspection into this bet. But from what we got from the story, I thought it was a pretty interesting story.
Yeah, it's Brian Rast being interviewed. They did not get Dan Bilzerian interviewed. But he just goes through this incredible bike bet that he has to have, and how just all these like weird little stories within this story that Antonio Esfandiari bet on Brian Rast. So Esfandiari sent a doctor out to go and inject him. I mean, the bet itself is to go between, I think it was Las Vegas and Dan Bilzerian's house, which is about 300 miles on a bike in 48 hours, which is pretty sick. I mean, I would not be able to do that, and I wouldn't be able to do 3 miles. But yeah, I mean, he managed to actually pull it off with an hour left, so it was a nail biter. And yeah, I mean, if there's any poker producers who are looking to make the next All In, I think this is the movie that you should be adapting here, the bike bet.
Yeah, and it's funny because you can kind of assume that they wouldn't have made an episode for this if he had lost the bet. That's just my vibe I got, but. Had it been like a 90-minute documentary, maybe you wouldn't be in it. You wouldn't quite know which way he would go as far as succeeding or failing. That could have been kind of cool. But it was a fun little story for Brian Rast, who actually it's pretty relevant in the poker world still to this date, having won his 3rd Poker Players Championship this year. I think last week. So again, he's just building an incredible poker resume, and it definitely got the online forums and Twitter people are buzzing about how he's definitely worthy of entry into the Poker Hall of Fame, and I totally agree with that idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whether or not he gets in this year, we'll have to see. I mean, the finalists are Josh Aryeh, Jeremy Osmus, who also just won another bracelet, Ted Forrest, Kathy Liebert, Mike Matisow, Lana Norm as one nominee, Brian Rast, Matt Savage, Isai Schleinberg, and Bill Smith. So it's an interesting mix there. I don't know who will make it in. I mean, I think RA is a contender. I think Rast is a contender, and Osmus might make it in too. Personally, of those 10, I think Mattisau. I know he's a controversial personality, but he was such an ambassador for the game, and he's such a presence that I think it would be nice to put him in. But yeah, I don't mind any of those 10 making it in.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that list. A lot of those players have won bracelets the last couple of weeks. Josh R.A. wins a very impressive Limit Hold'em event. Jeremy Optimus winning another bracelet this year as well. You didn't mention his name, but also Ben Lamb, another recent bracelet winner. So again, some of these players that we've been following, I've been following personally, and I guess you too probably, that I've just been a big fan of continuing to add to their bracelet total. And Helmut's going to watch out. These guys got a couple decades of youth on him, and if he's not careful, they might catch up to him. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, Helmuth hasn't made any final tables thus far. I mean, he's gotten close. He's cashing here and there, but we'll have to see if he can pull one off.
Yeah, Helmuth right now is still alive with, I think, by my last check, 16 players left in the 10K horse championship. So, he's in the. I think my last check it was like middle of the pack in chips. So he's got a fair shot there, I think, for number 17. You never know.
Yeah.
Getting back to Swords in the Felt here, we have the fourth one, the Wake Up Call, a 9-minute take on the Greg Merson drugs, rehab, recovery, leading into the 2012 World Series of Poker, where he won Player of the Year, won 2 bracelets, including the main event. Again, I'm just a big fan of the guy, and to begin with, so obviously I appreciated just hearing from him in a bit more detail than what we got in just those very brief sound bits that we got in the 2012 main event.
Yeah, same here. I mean, Greg Merson's such a likable person. He's obviously a great poker player. But I mean, this is a really emotional one. I mean, he cries on camera multiple times. He talks about having to call his parents after relapsing, which is, really brutal. Yeah, but he's pulled himself together. He's been sober for quite a long time now, and he's still playing poker. So it's good to see him. Good to hear from him. It's good to hear him talk about his story. So it's nice.
Yeah, so again, I kind of even the score 2-2 for me on the hits and misses, which then got us to the episode called the Mayfair Club. I look into 1980s New York poker with guys like Dan Harrington, Eric Seidel, Howard Lederer, Appleman, Heimowitz. It was a completely new topic or chapter of poker history for me, but I just didn't feel that it was told in a particularly unique or interesting way. I appreciate that club was one of the inspirations for the film Rounders, but that detail alone did not elevate this to, in my eyes, like a must watch.
Yeah, I mean, there was Howard Lederer in this club. There's a bunch of other names of people who became big names in the game prior to Moneymaker, and then after Moneymaker became, stars. But yeah, nothing super interesting. The only super interesting thing is just seeing Howard Lederer at 23, just how young he was looking in the coverage when he made the main event final table. That was kind of neat. But yeah, nothing that special. I mean, we've talked about Rounders, so.
Yeah, and then kind of a wild card finale for season 1, literally called Wild Cards, which was literally just a series of questions asked to a number of the interviewed for this program. I did appreciate that we got Danielle Anderson in there, who she kind of popped up in season 2 quite a bit as well. And again, she was one of the players in all of the documentaries I have the most questions about, just about the whole RN business and how her story continuing on from where the Bet Raised Full documentary kind of ended at, how she done since then. Obviously, she had some good poker results since then. So I kind of like that she was in there. And there was a bit where Nick Schulman can't stop trying to answer the how would you have $1 billion or win the main event question. That was pretty amusing. And so those two small details just nudged this one for me above into the hit column for me.
Yeah, it's all sorts of things like, what's your signature hand? Did you ever have a real job? What's your favorite Monopoly property? Little things like that. It's again, a cute little insubstantial video. It's not supposed to be as polished as some of these other ones are, so it's fine.
Yeah, and so I was kind of pretty mixed on about half of this entire collection of stories, which then brought us into season 2. These ones all on average are 1 or 2 minutes longer than season 1, which sometimes is a good thing. And sometimes if the topic itself isn't all that enjoyable, then it's kind of a drag. But It began with the 7-minute bit called "How They Deal," which was for me actually. I really wanted this to be a little bit longer, maybe like 20 minutes, to kind of give us a bit more details on the sort of side hobby or activity or whatnot that players use to kind of balance their poker life with. And so, yeah, they got some good guys in this to be interviewed. You know, Daniel Anderson pops up again, Negranu, Justin Bonomo, Brendan Shaq Harris. I liked what I saw, but I wanted a bit more.
Yeah, same here. You know, again, just a little bit about each of these people, nothing super in depth. We have, you know, one poker player who's a bartender for a living, and she's also a semi-professional player. That was, you know, kind of neat, I suppose, but nothing super substantial.
Yeah. Which then gets us to probably for me the least enjoyable of the entire season 2, How to Lose, where players just kind of talk about how, you know, losing more money than they're comfortable losing. I don't know. I just I don't have much to say about this. It is a good example of why you and I don't play poker for money, because losing $5 is like 100 times worse than winning $5 in my mind. So I guess I kind of like some you know, positive feedback on that thought process. But otherwise, I thought it was pretty dull.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a freelance writer, so playing poker doesn't make any financial sense at all. Yeah, I mean, it's tricky, you know, learning how to lose. But you know, the art of losing isn't hard to master, so you know, you figure it out.
Yeah. And then one of the more unique episodes here is one called Bonologic, a
Mhm.
9-minute look into sort of the head of Justin Bonomo. It kind of comes on the heels of his like just rock solid 2018 poker resume, where he was winning millions upon millions of dollars. The big one for one drop in 2018 just being one example of the major accomplishments he had that year. And we just kind of get a glimpse into Bonomo's life. It's kind of like with How They Deal, but we have just one person in the focus here, so we can have a little bit more detail. And for that, I kind of enjoyed this look into his head.
Yeah, same here. You know, obviously Bonomo's a terrific player, but to actually hear him as a person talk about his life with his partners and just what he does to achieve happiness and just a little bit of sense of what his domestic life is like, it's nice. It's nothing. It's not too long. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's just kind of it's nice.
Mhm. And then that goes into the Mirage, a 9.5-minute long bit about just a specific poker room, how, you know, the origins of it, and then kind of how the Bellagio stole the audience space of that poker room. I thought it was again kind of just okay, kind of in that middle meh category that I mentioned earlier. You know, it was a little. And you kind of could have combined this with the Mayfair Club, and it kind of hits a lot of the same beats. Oh, this is such a great place. I enjoyed playing there. I met this person there. We got better. You know, it's just kind of like eh.
Yeah, same here. Again, you know, you have Daniel Negreanu sort of bobbing and weaving through here. Eric Drash, some you know people that people know, but nothing super special. Um, you know that Mirage was kind of in this gap between old and new Las Vegas is really the argument of the entire video, and it proves that. So it's like, all right, it's nice.
And then the last couple of episodes here are both the first and second longest of this entire collection. The first one being Steve Albini Cashes In. Now, I don't know this guy by name. I don't know if you know him, Sam.
I do, yeah.
He's a music producer who played poker from like 2010 onward, and he ended up at a final table at the a $1,500 7-card stud event in 2018 that he ended up winning. I didn't find it particularly insightful. I thought the basic story beats were okay. That's kind of cool, but otherwise, I didn't think it was too memorable. Otherwise,
Yeah, Steve Albini is a very big music producer. He worked with Nirvana. He's worked with a bunch of big artists. When Nirvana was in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Steve Grohl actually thanked him by name in his induction speech. So he's very high up in the music biz. And yeah, he's actually won 2 bracelets. He won another bracelet after this documentary aired. He's a pretty decent poker player, and he beat Jeff Lasadro heads up. So, you know, he really knows his stuff, it seems. Yeah, it was kind of nice just, you know, hearing from him. He seems like a cool guy. He's not, you know, braggadocious about being this big music producer. He's not braggadocious about winning a bracelet. He, you know, he's at his home game and he's showing people his bracelet still in the box, which I thought was kind of nice. Yeah, seems like a nice guy. You know, also, you know, hearing from his friends and his peers about what he does. It's good.
I mean, I guess if I had known who Albini was prior to watching this, maybe I would have appreciated it a bit more. I guess because I don't, it's just kind of in the Matt. Put him in the Matt category for me. I think maybe it was probably more in the hit category for you for this, which is fine. But you know who he is by name. I didn't. But that serves for me. I think the best one for last here, Lon and Norm for about 11 minutes. Lon goes into his sort of television background, how he was originally just covering oddball sports, and how that kind of got him tied into the main event back in the early 2000s. And then while Norm kind of had more of a comedy shtick going on with the Washington Post. And probably for me, the best single shot of this entire choice in the film was just seeing the green screen being set up for when they were going to film an introduction for the main event. That was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, you get a little bit of behind the scenes into what they do. So, they're told the hands in advance. Certain things are scripted out, certain things are a little bit more spontaneous. It's just weird here, hearing Lon McCarran's voice as he does this sort of like hypothetical, like a 9 on the river, oh my God, like just kind of like seeing the look on his face as he's essentially acting. That was just kind of interesting. And yeah, both Lon and Norm are great guys. They're Hall of Fame possible inductees for a reason. I'd like to see them make it in at some point. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to get their backstories and hear what their rapport is and how they've developed things over time too. That the failed marriage thing like slowly became a shtick and then eventually became a thing. So it's nice to hear from them.
Yeah, and also they get handed a paper copy of the hands that are going to be in the episode beforehand, so they kind of have like a voice acting prep like you would for like a DreamWorks or Disney animated movie. So it's just kind of cool to see that because we've noticed the green screens over the years. We've noticed the sort of the rehearsed sounding commentary. Sometimes some things feel more organic in certain cuts of certain episodes, but it's just kind of cool to kind of put the whole package together here by seeing this little backstory into their dynamic on TV.
Yeah.
So by my final tally of these 12 stories, I had 5 in the hit column, 4 in the miss column, 3 in the middle column. So I guess if you count middle as like half, that makes the final score 6.5 to 5.5. So I guess the scale is slightly positive for me for this collection. I mean, again, these are very short bits. You could watch all of these in just maybe an hour if you were watching it at 2x speed like we do. So not a huge time sink. And again, for just sort of kind of throwaway poker content, it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, the things that worked for me were it was bike bet, wake up call, Algo Bono logic as well, Albini cashes, and Norman Lon. So that's five for me that I liked.
Pretty much 5 from the same 5 for me. So we're pretty much in the same. Oh, maybe Albini, but we're pretty much in this and more or less in the same brain space for all of this. So that's good to know. But we usually do that anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're nothing super substantial. I mean, I'm surprised they're just not on YouTube.
Me too.
I don't know why they're shoved away in their vault. I mean, you could probably, they're not going to get a whole lot of views off of these, but yeah, like a couple thousand each, I can imagine, especially the Lon and Norm one. But yeah, it's time.
Yeah. And so, to my surprise, actually, we had an entire episode, a while ago dedicated towards Chase the Dream, the incomplete season 1 of 3 players, the professional, the entrepreneur, and the amateur, the recreational player, whatever it was. Playing in a series of tournaments in I think 2022, and season 1 finale finally dropped by Rob a few weeks ago, and so I was pretty excited to watch it and sort of see how everything kind of tied together and ended the poker season last year on a high note. And so I'll let you start off, Sam. What was your experience watching this finale?
Well, giving more context, I mean, Chase the Dream, it's about these 3 guys, Rob, Paul, and KL, who are going to just go to Las Vegas and try to live it up. Rob is a sort of successful poker player. He's not like a super big name or anything, but he's been around for a while. KL is called a poker entrepreneur. He's not quite a professional player. He's sort of like a semi-professional and is involved in different stuff in the game. And then Paul is an amateur who's sort of looking to move up. So the series followed the 3 of them as they sort of geared up for going to Vegas and then finally went to Vegas. Paul living in his Tesla the whole way through and having some trouble, finding out a place to park and all sorts of stuff. It's a fairly low budget documentary series. Definitely each episode needed some work. Some moments needed more focus, some moments needed less focus. But the 3 guys are really likable. I really like all 3 of them. Their stories feel very real. Their emotions feel real. So looking into this, I was like, all right, let's just see how this ends. I'm really not sure where this is going to go. And yeah, I mean, Rob actually manages to get not only a cash in the main event, but a Norman Chad Starburst. So he was really rolling up here. And yeah, KL and Paul, excuse me, unfortunately don't do so well. They both bust on day two, but at least they made it to day two, so that's nice.
Yeah, it's funny because really, depending on what kind of poker you're playing on day one, it really determines whether or not you're going to survive to day two. Some poker players, some top pros go out on day one because they're going for building a huge stack, and so they get it all in with like top set against a flush draw, and the flush draw hits on the river and they're gone. They stuff like that where they had the best hand anyway, but then they're re-raising a bit bigger, and so in the effort to pull those big stacks. Whereas a guy like Adam, our friend Adam, he's definitely more of a small ball kind of guy. So him being into day three doesn't surprise me because he's minimizing his variance. And in this case, again, we don't really get too much of a deep look into what kind of hands they were playing. I mean, all three of them are above starting stack after day one, which is commendable because a lot of players bust on day one. So just being up at all is pretty impressive. And then again, KL and Paul bust on day two. I think KL survives a little bit longer, survived until the dinner break. I think he played on an earlier day two than Paul did. So, that's just something I noted. And again, it kind of speaks to how they didn't embarrass themselves during this entire season. They just didn't excel or do anything super, top tier as far as accomplishments. In Rob's case, he survives day two only marginally above where he survived day one with. So he had 75,000 chips heading into day three, which Adam can probably speak to. When you have that few chips, the blinds are probably like 1,000, 2,500, something like that. So you're pretty handcuffed and you can blind down very fast. And so he does, probably the best moment in this entire finale was just sort of Rob acknowledging to the camera that if he can double up in this one spot here, he definitely has enough chips to make it to the money, because that's like a mental equation I was going through watching Adam play in day three, where that hand where he busted on, if he wins that all in, he's definitely making the money. But if he folds there, it's not quite the stack size that you need to have to guarantee a min cash. And so that kind of moment kind of resonated with me pretty strongly.
Yeah, and again, like all three of these guys are just really likable. So to see Rob be so emotional after he's cashed, and he also decides in the editing to let it play out, to not have any commentary over and actually really show what being on the bubble is like. He had a good stack by that point, so he's not in danger of busting out. But to just hear like, oh, this guy survived.
Sorry, I'll but a pretty boss 10-8 bluff right there on an all diamond board. That's pretty boss there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Miller's been playing good. He's been, making a bunch of raises and stuff. So Fetch, I think, picked up on that there.
Yeah,
I'm seeing some good. We haven't been talking too much about the players over chase the stuff here. But yeah, the players all seem to be pretty good. I mean, on the tighter side of things for sure. But I'm not really seeing anybody step out of line.
Well, I mean, you don't make it to day four of the seniors event without having some, skills to get there. I mean, let's not forget a lot of players view this event as a very soft field, and while that's probably true on day one and maybe day two, by day four, that's definitely not at all accurate.
Yeah, Rick Cabona's got a call here. I mean, come on, you're 10 bigs.
Not to mention, you already have the big blind ante in there and your own big blind, so you're getting more than. You've got 10 bigs if you fold here, and you're still the short stack of the table. Oh, he's going to fold the ace.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, Miller, I think to me has been raising a lot. He had 2-pair earlier against Baxter and decided to raise him instead of slow playing it.
One criticism I have of the Pokergo streams now, we don't know at all times how many players are left, so we don't know if there's a pay jump coming up, if there's what the chip average is. I mean, the commentary will occasionally say, "Oh, a player got knocked out, and now there's blank left," and they usually say how many players are left pretty regularly. But just from like freeze frame on the screen, you wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah, there's 7 people at the table here, so we're probably talking 21-ish, right?
It could be 21 to 23 because you need other 2 tables. So somewhere in that mix. So again, it's a little mathic, or it could be less actually. It could be 7, 6, 6. Could be 20, but that's unlikely.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Anyway,
But,
so as you were saying, so yeah, so back to your talk about Rob here. Yeah, so his emotions, you know, he definitely, you know, it comes across as a guy who really cares about poker and about how, you know, doing well is important to him. And it's all in. Oh, let's see. He folds the ace-6 there, and now he gets to enjoy 2 queens to maybe get a double. But then again, this is for about half of Baxter's chips. So
yeah, I don't think he's gonna call.
but he just saw him fold an ace the last hand, so that's in his head too. Like if he's folding ace-6, he's probably shoving on the stronger side of his range too.
Yeah.
Uh, God, okay.
That was cute.
All right, we have a classic 2-to-1 confrontation here. I guess I'm rooting for Baxter. I don't know. It's more fun.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Baxter too.
All right, here, I'll unmute for this part. We'll just do it.
King Jack 6, very safe flop for Riccobono.
Yeah.
2 black cards, but not the spades that Baxter was hoping to see.
Now, if an ace comes, we get more outs. So.
The 9 of diamonds, Baxter now down to just 3 outs. Any backdoor possibilities
Right, I'm
have
going
been
to call
eliminated. Let's see the river card.
5 of clubs.
It is 6 spades, and Riccobono is going to receive a full double up courtesy of Billy Baxter.
Double. All right. Anyway, so Rob ends in 680th place, which is again not a min cash, not like the first page of after the min cash, but kind of like probably I didn't look up how much money he won. He probably won something like maybe like $17,000 probably. I'm not sure.
Which is still good, but
yeah. And so Rob also at the top of the finale mentions the hiatus between episode 5 or 6, whatever it was, and the finale. So that was kind of amusing, a little fourth wall thing there. It was just an okay coda. I mean, it's the main event, so that's pretty cool. And that was the finale of the season. If there's a season 2, I think there's supposed to be. I would hope to see all 3 of them make it a bit deeper into the main event, so that we can have a bit more of suspense and drama in the run. Because again, the main event is just so much fun to follow people. I know like Brad Owen had a main event vlog that was really fun to watch, for example. Just the main event for me on a vlog like this, very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame that Rob couldn't run deeper, or that KL or Paul couldn't also get in there, but that's the way it goes. I mean, it's not Rob's fault that the content turned out to be this way. And definitely, yeah, like the editing and stuff's gotten better. I mean, I think that I would be curious to watch season 2 and see how that goes.
Absolutely. And again, just any poker content, I'm always open to seeing more stuff. So and also, he has liked some of my comments on his videos on YouTube, so I appreciate
That's true.
that. Just like how we appreciate that from our viewers. That's always cool. And so another topic I definitely wanted to cover with you, Sam, today was the sort of poker controversy surrounding Martin Kabrhiel, particularly with I think it was a 250K super high roller event, where players like Dan Smith, Andrew Roble really took offense to the antics and potential cheating of Kabrhiel. Doug Polk did do a video documenting the supposed proof and splicing together all the different incidents that people have pointed to with potential spots of cheating. What was your take on this whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, Kabrhiel, for those of you who don't know, is a 2-time bracelet winner, I believe. He specializes in sort of these high roller big events, mainly in Europe, but he comes out to Vegas and plays a little bit. Though he did say in his Busted interview that he hasn't really played the game anymore, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's well known for being very talkative at the table, a lot like Will Kasuf, as he's often compared, asking repeatedly, because there's a 30-second clock in the high roller, he'll ask repeatedly, like, how big is your stack, so that the dealer has to stop the clock and count the stack. And just talking in general, I mean, talking during a lot of big spots, just being
just fast forwarding through the break. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so this is after the break, and it looks like we're 9-handed, so 2 tables left.
2 or 3, I'm not sure. I assume 2, but
I think it's 2. Yeah, I think they started at like 26.
Okay. Oh, we got some aces here.
Yeah, so we still got Baxter here. We got Fetch. Fetch is really winning away with this one. He's got 26 million.
And I feel like the next 5 stacks combined don't even have that much. Oh, we got. Yeah. I don't know if that was. That's Fahey.
Yeah, this is Riccobono. He just doubled up through Baxter, and then
he's I think the last lady in the field, so I'm rooting for her, I guess, naturally, right?
yeah, I guess so.
King 5 for Tran. Okay, good fold, man. Uh-oh.
Yeah, this is it. Bye, Dale.
He only has 7 big blinds behind, so he began the hand with 9 big blinds. Big blind Annie. He's all in. He's
moves all in with pocket tens. Ronald Neal at risk with the inferior pair, going up against Lauren Cloninger. It's just when you don't make
there we go. Will there be blood? Or no blood?
Wait, massive pot here right off the bat as we go down to the final 2 tables. Let's see if the ace in this seniors event. King Jack Deuce on the flop. He's in a commanding spot here.
Sort of.
As Neil is down to the final 2 outs.
All right, 10.
Neil goes against 9 cards to make it straight.
Queen
of diamonds. Now ace or 9.
Queen of diamonds.
Could keep Neil in this event, or else he'll bust out an
Queen of diamonds.
River card. It is the 8 of diamonds. Cloninger makes a flush. Neil hits the rail in 18th place.
All right.
Down to final 17.
So 17 are left now. You were right. So 17 players left. Everyone's 1 step closer. And I think actually with the new payout structure, that's now a pay jump has been reached. It used to be every table breaking, and now it's like the first knockout after that, which I think is interesting. But anyway, that's probably another pay jump for them.
Yeah, so I mean, Kabrhiel, yeah, he's a bit annoying, but this tournament took a bit of a twist in that he was accused by multiple players, Dan Smith being one of them, of marking cards and cheating, because Kabrhiel has a habit of standing up out of his seat, which you're not allowed to do in the middle of a hand. If you're not in the action, you can get up and leave. Of course, in between hands, you can stand up, but not while the action is on you. And there have been a bunch of videos of people saying that Kabrhiel was looking at people's cards in sort of strange ways. He wasn't looking at stacks, and also just sort of folding strangely. There's one hand where he's sort of pushing his cards in like this, and then he kind of like goes like this with his hands as he's pushing them in, which is kind of weird. There's also another hand where the cards like stuck on his fingers for a moment. So people have been accusing him of marking cards. I mean, in terms of his table talk, as somebody who is a podcaster and a sort of Ben just demonstrated.
Sweat will make the card stick to your hands. I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I can just do this right now on command with these cards on this table. I mean, it's a summer day, but
really.
You don't have to mark cards to do that. Just saying. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, in terms of his banter, as somebody who's watching the game and commenting on this podcast, I find it entertaining, but I can understand that it's extremely annoying to people who are actually, playing it. Baxter's gone all in. Fetch, let's see,
he's kind of priced in. He's on 2-1, and it's 2-1.
Yeah, I guess you got a call here, don't you?
He can afford it, and he's already put in 800,000, so it's only 2 million more to win 4.2 million. It's better than 2-1, actually.
It's a close spot. I'd fold, but that's just me.
I mean, it's Baxter with 9 big blinds. So he could be shoving Queen Jack suited, King Queen suited.
Yeah, let's see what he does here. I don't know. I
mean, it kind of feels like it could be he's not folding. All right. I guess he wants to hang on to his chip lead, but he's still in the chip lead even if he calls and loses. But
yeah.
Anyway, sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, so I mean, as a observer, I think it's entertaining. But if I was sitting at the table, I would probably be annoying to hear. He also did a couple little things, like he would announce, a 300K bet, he announced a 205K bet, and then he'd put out 300K chips so the dealer would have to give him change, little things like that. But again, that's all, that's all within the rule book. You want to have people talk, you want to have people be charismatic and fun with the game, and yet you don't want them to talk. It's kind of this weird imbalance of things. Faye picked a bad spot to raise with 10-9, didn't she?
He's just gonna go all in, yeah. At least there'll be no. Okay, we're gonna unmute this one too.
He can get away with it.
How can Cloninger possibly get away from this? The answer is probably he can't.
Now he has been covered.
Ronnie raised a shove in front of you. It's impossible to fold, right? It is possible to fold. You are blocking.
And he'll be the button after the hand, so he will have good orbit before he has to be committed.
Yep.
Ace 9 folds,
so ace 9 suited, of course, that goes into the muck, as well as ace 10-9 also. Riccobono is going to see the great news. He's going to have an awesome chance to double up here.
Riccobono is going to have a chance to get 12 million out of nowhere.
When you see it like this, Donnie, it makes you realize even more how weak ace king is in just a drawing hand. It is just a drawing hand, and it is against the mother of all made hands, pocket aces. And Riccobono.
By the way, this is streamed on YouTube right now for free, by the way, so this is also totally fair.
5, 6, 9. The best thing Cloninger can hope for now is a 7 and an 8. Chop this thing up because running kings is only a 0.3% chance of happening.
Oh, got the gone.
Turn card 5 of spades,
All right,
and that will
so-
do it. Rico Bono received a full double up.
There you go.
Turn card 7 of
Wow,
diamonds.
Rick Cabona's up to 12, just like that.
No Gordon Vayo like Ace King beating Aces routine there. Yeah, and so about Kabrhiel, you know, this is a prestigious event, the $250,000 buy-in.
Yeah.
Reminded me a bit of the PPC in 2008 of Scully to win and Michael DiMichele, where it kind of feels like because it's a certain event, there's sort of this sort of prestige, like, you know, like almost like in Wimbledon with tennis, where, you know, the code of conduct is supposed to be sort of above the usual standards. And, you know, Dan Smith is, you know, one of the best poker players in the world. He's, you know, earned it. I think he's earned the right to express his opinion without it just being completely ignored by virtue of how extreme his opinion is. And I feel like, you know, Kabrhiel, he's trying to make the game actively not fun. You know, he might not be cheating, and and you know, obviously trying to understand someone's skin. You can do it a number of different ways. Like Curtis Reistad kind of did it accidentally almost. Kasuf does it intentionally, but I don't know. And you know, even Alex Keating, he can be antagonistic, but not in a super personal fashion. Whereas Kabrhiel, one of the like sort of conspiracy offshooting theories is that he's like trying to make people think that he is marking cards when he's not. You know, and like the leveling war of that is a whole thing. I mean, he obviously he's hired a lawyer as a whole thing where he's got a lawyer to sort of, you know, clear his name and like sue for defamation and stuff. And so the story is still unfolding. But there's a lot of levels to this, and I personally don't think he was marking cards. It's really hard to mark cards on a TV table with no one noticing. Like dealers handle the cards, players see the cards. I don't think that's accurate. I think it just comes down to what should be the code of conduct. And if you're, you know, there's the rules for poker, and then if you want to have a separate code of conduct, it has to be specifically defined, because otherwise you're just sort of having, you know, a subjective negative experience with one player.
Ace King versus Ace King here. Looks like is Tran going to call here? I think he has to.
He made a 3x raise, and he's only
he's got to go in here.
11 big blinds. So you know, it's funny, even though he has you know, a 1/3 the shot of a flush, he has two different suits though. You know, I feel like, you know, I kind of like the Ace King offsuit more than the Ace King suited.
Yeah, he's got two suits. Yeah.
Here
see
we go.
if anything.
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Tranny boy.
Tran's got the phone out.
Oh,
gonna be a heart on the turn. Oh, it is.
Royal flush. Royal flush. I want to see a royal flush.
Oh, that's gross.
Oh man.
Jeez, sorry, Tran. Oof.
All right. Well, you know, again, like the Marc-Andre Ladouceur versus Andros Koroknoy, there was a fourth of the suit on the river anyway, so it didn't matter. I mean, wow. That's again pretty brutal to lose that way, with I guess 17 left. So. But it does mean that our boy Billy Baxter and the final lady in the field are both one step closer to the final table, which is great. Moving back to Martin Kabrhiel, so I don't know. I mean, Dan literally, as he gets busted from the tournament, walks up and says, "I hope you get barred." And Kabrhiel, not being the master of English, doesn't even know what barred means. And then so Dan says, "Oh, you should be banned." And he has an interview where he says, like, you know, Kabrhiel, he stalls, like he takes the full 30 seconds to ask for chip counts. The only thing within the rules that he really broke though was the standing up out of his chair and then when he's not supposed to. And there was I don't even think he was warned by anybody for it. I was a little surprised by that when I saw that live. I thought that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying he should have gotten a penalty, but I think I'd virtually give him a formal warning at least to at least make it seem like there was some negative consequence for that action.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of marking cards, I really don't know. I don't know how easy it is to mark these playing cards. I've never seen them in person, let alone felt them. So I don't know if you can scratch them with your fingernails. The sticking fingers thing, like you said, you can, you know, your hands can sweat. You know, maybe he's eating in between hands and he has something sticky on his fingers. You know, you just don't know. Sometimes just flukes just happen. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's definitely some suspicious times when he's. See if.
I think this is worth. I think she's supposed to call here, but not. Yeah.
Yeah, she just called. If it's 400K, it's not.
It's all right. Well, this is
all right.
Check bet.
Yeah, she won't lose anything. It'll go. Bet she'll bet and she'll fold.
That spot though.
Oh, was it 400K again? Oh, 800K.
Just call it. Really? I'm gonna fold that.
That's a bad
I'm gonna
call.
fold that.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, again, I don't quite know. I think the most suspicious thing for me in terms of the evidence is just, clearly like he's not looking at the chips in some spots. Like I remember there's this one clip where he was next to Brendan Steven, and Brendan Steven's cards are right here and the stacks are right here. And you can look from the eye line that Kabrhiel's looking at the cards and not the stack. There's definitely little things we can tell, like he's not quite looking at the chips. But on the other hand, you also see moments like he was in a hand with Chance Kornuth, and he was like looking down towards Chance Kornuth's legs or something, and like looking behind him. And I think probably just to see if Chance Kornuth was like tapping his foot or something, nervous in the middle of a hand. So him not quite looking at the chips, that could, he's looking for something else. Maybe he's looking at their actual hands, see if their hands are shaking, things like that. Like you could there's explanations here that are still viable that lead away from a cheating accusation. But again, like I can't say for sure he didn't cheat. I can't say for sure that he did cheat. I'll just say that like there's reasonable doubt. In a legal sense, right, there's, guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Martin Kabrhiel is not guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. If he didn't have this table talk, I don't think this allegation would be there at all. So
yeah, it's definitely circumstantial, and I'd almost like to even just have Kabrhiel like watch himself on TV and explain what each action was, like how it was benign or whatever. Like I was standing up to see something on the table. I thought it was like a card protector on his chip or on his hand or something, or I don't know, just to hear him rationalize all the complaints people have rather than just saying I'm totally innocent. That would be a bit more genuine of a legal response for me. But again, I'm not willing to condemn him. I mean, if it was me in that table playing, I might just like laugh it off. Like, if he wants to do all this stuff, I'm not, wired in the way that whereas I take this all super seriously in the moment. So that's just my take on it. I understand why Dan Smith might be upset about it, and I still, am a fan of Dan Smith, even if I disagree with the severity of his accusations. I still think that they're worth accusing over. We have a interesting tank here by Fetch. I think it's kind of Hollywood because he's not even last to act here with Jack 9.
Yeah, he'll fold. He's just taking.
Yeah, there you go. Attaboy.
Yeah, I mean, I respect Dan Smith too. I mean, no real problem there. Like also he was clearly tilted. Chance Kornuth said in his bust that Kabrhiel tilted him too. I mean, again, that's what he's trying to do is tick you off. And with bullies, you either have to play along with them or you have to ignore them completely. You can't engage with them on any other level. So yeah, I mean, again, it's the WSOP is having their investigation into it. We'll see how that goes. I mean, I have no idea. But yeah, let's just all tread lightly about cheating accusations after Robbie Lou. Let's just all, take this down a notch. We'll let the process play out. And also, yeah, Martin Kabrhiel has hired a lawyer. I don't want to get sued. So yeah, but I personally, I'd say he's not guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So.
And even if he's innocent, he should be able to understand why people think that. It's not even like I think any logical person would see. Okay, I could see why they think this, even though they're wrong. But it's not like it's totally without any merit to think that with what they are subjectively observing.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how this goes. I don't know if he's playing any other events. It'd be maybe he'll play the main, and if he does engages in similar behavior, then that's something. But yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see how things go. It's still a developing story.
Yeah, he finished in third place in the $250,000 buy-in tournament, which I think was the same place he got in that infamous WSOP Europe event that he was sort of the subject of like a table talk antics compilation on YouTube. I think he got third place in that event too, so it's kind of funny. Yeah. He can't. I think he had accumulated a pretty massive stack at one point, and my guess is I feel like his poker skill is maybe a little bit less suitable to short-handed. That's just maybe just from the results he's had. I don't know. I definitely felt like as the table shrank and he had to play more hands against the same players, that his skill edge maybe declined a bit. That was just something I observed too.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's still a pretty good player. Right. I hear sort of theory or an argument from people like, well, he's such a good player, so why would he cheat? Well, maybe he's such a good player because he cheats. I mean, we don't really know what the situation is here. I'm not saying that he does cheat. I'm just saying like that's not in and of itself something that clears him. Yeah, I mean, again, we're just gonna have to see how things go. I mean, cheating investigations in poker are always so tricky because how do you prove someone cheated? How do you clear their name? Again, after Robbie Lou and after Mike Postle and all these people, it's just really difficult, even to claim money after you've proven someone's cheated. So we'll just have to see.
I totally agree. And so again, that's kind of, I guess, all the big story beats in the poker world right now. Obviously, Helmuth could be on his way to another final table in the horse event. We're watching this event right now. But Sam, there's one more thing I think I want to talk to you about. And you recall about 2 weeks before my first trip to Vegas, I went to a poker room casino with Adam and played some cash games with his money.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And last night, I went back to that same establishment and I played the same exact stakes, same exact game with my money. And I want to tell you how I did in that game.
All right. Well, we do have do you want to watch this hand here? Or?
I think this is going to be just another example of people handing even more chips to fetch. Like, it's just been going so smoothly for him. It's pretty incredible. I mean, I think Rico Bono is going to probably fold this, but
yeah, I mean, what could Fetch be raising?
So I guess it looks like the action might have been, I don't know if it was a bet on the flop or something. All right, good fold, good fold.
Yeah.
So again, this
anyway.
So this was 1-2. I bought in for $200 of my own money, just like I did before. Well, it was with Adam's money at that time, and so I sat down as an 8-handed table max. For the most part, it was 7-handed. People leaving and coming throughout the action. There are really 6 hands I'm going to break down with you. I'm going to tell them in chronological order, just so that you know exactly what happened in what order. So about, I want to say 45 minutes in, I'm down like maybe like $10, whatever. It folds to the small blind while I'm the big blind. The guy limps in for $1. I looked and I got pocket 8s. So I raised to 8. He instantly re-raises to 13, which is incorrect. It has to be 14. So he puts in the extra chip after the dealer tells him it has to be 14. I'm immediately suspicious. I'm like, oh my god. I'm hoping maybe as like ace king. So I just call the 6 more. Flop comes queen 10-10. He checks, I check. Turn cards and 9s, which gives me a straight draw. And he bets 15. And this guy was betting with a very high frequency. He was raising pre-flop very regularly, never folding pre-flop. It's very aggressive. So I'm thinking this could be ace king still. Like maybe he just has 2 overs and a straight draw. And I have 6 outs basically. I have straight outs and 2 8s. So I just call the 15. River card is 7. He bets like 25. I just fold. He shows me aces.
Oh wow!
I managed to avoid going broke of 8s against aces. I mean, it would have been pretty hard to get it all in pre-flop, but nonetheless, that was a bullet dodged.
Yep. So I'm all in here against Baxter.
Okay, let's get back to this. We'll get back to my story.
Baxter has recovered by about 6. This is basically also for Baxter's tournament life. A comeback after losing this one is going to be very tough.
Oh!
Always comes 7. It always comes 7.
I saw the ace first.
Doubling up.
All right. All right.
They will double up to 7 million.
All right. So
Baxter is crippled. So it's still got 5 big blinds.
So anyway, so back to my story here. So a little bit later, I pick up ace king suited, ace king of hearts. There's a raise to 5. Another guy raises to 15. I raise to 40. It folds back to the guy who raised 15, which is again the same guy on my direct right who I lost the other hand to. He goes all in. I snap call. He's got the ace king of diamonds, and I have the ace king of hearts. So it's a fair fight. We're each in there. The flop comes queen 3-3 with 1 heart and 1 diamond. So we're both now 5% to scoop. And then the turn card's a black card, so we just chop it up. So we each get like $3 each. So again, no blood. A little bit later, I'm down to about 130. I'm just kind of slowly blinding away. I was playing pretty tight. I wasn't really seeing too many flops, and even if I did, I usually folded the flop when I missed it. I have pocket aces. So one person raises to 7. I raise to 16. 3 callers, including the guy who put in 7. So the pot is like $65, $67 or whatever. Flop comes king, queen, jack. So I was actually big blind. So no, I'm sorry, no, I was button. I was the button, excuse me. So the first guy to act bets pot size bet 65. It folds to me. So he's betting the pot. I only have like 110 behind. So there's no way he's folding if I shove. So I'm thinking like, what could he have? I'm probably behind because in cash games, people are just calling and with two face cards, no matter what pre-flop, no matter how much the action is pre-flop. Something. So I have like a stack of $5 chips as a 20 stack, and then a few like other chips here. So I like put the smaller chips on top of the big stack as if I'm gonna put it all in. And the guy that who's in the hand with me, he had come in partway into the night. He like has his chips ready to like call, like he's about to call me. Like I don't move the chips forward at all. I just put them all together, my hand over them. So I know he's calling. I'm pretty sure. I know he was calling anyway. So I sort of think about what could he have. After like 2 minutes, I decided, you know what, I'll fold. I flash the aces. He chose the king queen. So I get away from danger there. I did a calculator thing. I was 36% if I played that hand. So I'm like almost 2-to-1 dog there. So it's the right fold. It's just kind of brutal that I know aces couldn't hold up there. So now I'm down to about like 110. So things are not going very well. I blind down a bit more. I'm down to like $97 at this point. So I'm like really annoyed because even if I double up, I'm still losing. So the action goes now. One player raises to 10, and that was the normal raise size. It was either someone raised to 6, 7, 10, or 12. There was always those numbers, pretty much. So one person raises to 10, one player calls, and then the guy on my direct right, who has lost a few hands now, so now he's about even with me with chip counts, he calls 10. And I look down, I got a buck of 10s. So I'm thinking there's now $33 in money out there. So it's probably not a good idea for me just to call, because if I call, there's so many flops that I'm not going to like. And plus, I'm not going to have the best hand usually. And if I raise, it's going to it pretty much has to be all in, or because otherwise I'm going to get called by at least 2 people probably, and it's the same problem. So I decided to go all in, 2 10s. I just suck it up. I just have a smile on my face, whatever. I've already kind of like upset because I'm down this much money, and it's just not going very well. And so the first 2 players, they take their time to fold. They're like, they kind of want to call, but I kind of have a very tight image, so I'm not really playing too many hands. So it folds again to the guy on my direct right, same guy this entire time. He's like, I have him covered about like only a handful of bucks, and he decides he's too short to fold, so he calls me, and to my surprise, he has Jack 10 suited.
Wow.
So I'm a huge favorite. It's about as good as I could have hoped for, because again, this is a double up plus $20 from the other 2 players. So the flop's being built up. The very top card is the queen of diamonds. So I'm like, oh my god! But it comes queen of diamonds, 4 of spades, 3 of spades. I had the 10 of spades. So he's got three fifths of a straight flush. Whatever. The turn card is the 9 of spades. So he now has an open ender and 1 over card, and I have a flush draw, so I'm cutting into those outs. River card was like a harmless 5, like a black 5. So I double up. I go from like $90-something up to like 180, 190. So I'm like, whoa, my god, can't believe it. I'm pretty much about to even. I even consider just leaving at that point, but I'm like, you know what? We'll play a little bit more, because I'm having now I'm in a good mood. Like I was enjoying the table, but I wasn't like in a huge great mood. So like an orbit later, I get ace king. One player makes it 7. I raise again. It's the guy on my direct right. He bought back in for more chips. I raise to 17. The guy across the table from me raises to 50. And this guy was definitely picking on me a little bit over the course of the night. He was always calling whenever I raised, and it just seemed like he didn't have much respect for my game. So the original raiser folds. So I have like 170 or like 160, 170 right now behind. So I'm thinking, do I want to just blow? Do I want to just like go crazy with my ace king, or how do I want to play this? I was probably not folding, but if I fold there, I'm still I'm at 160, so it's not the end of the world. I decided just to call the 50, because I don't know, it's ace king. If I'm up against queens, then I can maybe hit a flop, and if he's I don't know. I felt that was the right move in that spot.
Mhm.
And then so from there, the flop comes ace 9-9.
Mhm.
And so I am out of position. I check. He bets 35. And I thought it was a strange bet because I felt like he was trying to see if I had like jacks, queens, something in that range, you know. So that's why I would have checked an ace high flop. And I thought, so he can't have, there's only 2 aces left in the deck. So I'm only really worried about ace ace because I don't think a 9's in his range when he 4-bets to 50. So really, I'm like 99% sure I have the best hand. So the question is, do I just call this or do I do something else? And I decided, you know what? If I get him to fold, if he has like ace queen ace jack, that's a good 14% equity that I can get. You know, he can not see. So I said I'm just going to shove. I shove all in. He thinks about it for a little bit, then he ends up folding. I don't show my hand though, and so but he says like, yeah, like ace king, ace queen, and the fact that he asked me that told me he probably had like ace, probably had like queens or something like that. Maybe I would fold like kings or something like that. So I win that hand. I get up to 270 from there. So I'm feeling amazing. I played 2 more orbits after that. The one hand I really like played was I had king queen in the big blind. There were 2 players limp, small blind limps. I just check back for deception of king queen. That's it's pretty high in my checking back range in the big blind. The flop comes queen 10-7.
Mm-hmm.
Small blind checks. I bet 4, which is half the pot. It goes fold call. I'm sorry. The board was queen 10-4. Excuse me. The turn card is a 10. He checks, I check. Turn cards, river card's a 4. So it's a double paired board with the queen. He bets 15. And again, this is the aggressive player. And I feel like, if he had a 10 or a 4, he probably would have bet the turn. And so, and I just have such a tight image that I think he could trying to bluff me with like, so I call the 15. He turns over queen 7. So my king kicker plays the king queen. So I win that pot too. So I end, I play up until my next big blind beforehand. So I end up walking away this session after 4 hours with $287, an $87 profit. That was how my first ever cash game and last ever cash game session with my own money went.
Yeah,
I definitely got the sense I was the worst player at the table. It was kind of funny. Like I was pretty card dead for a good portion of the night. But I was also like, I definitely didn't play the same in that seat as I would in like a play money tournament. Like ideally, you'd be able to play the exact same game if you were playing real money versus just for fun. And I definitely couldn't do that. But the fact is, I managed to, by folding those aces against that king queen, I managed to survive long enough. Whereas my actual luck would turn around. That tens against Jack 10 hand was the first ever like real poker hand that I won when I was all in. Like I'd been over 3 prior to that, so I was really cool with that. But I really realized that just even though I played poker my very long time, I'm really just not that good a player against people that play a bit more regularly. So it was a good wake up call to the it's almost like playing a sport and not realizing that your high school team compared to the world is like just not the same level at all. So it definitely told me, you know what, I'm never playing poker for money again. But and at the same time, I got a great story out of it. I won some money. It's funny, I'd gone shopping earlier that day, and my winnings basically covered exactly what I spent on the shopping. So that was pretty cool, a coincidence there. And so that is the end of my real money poker playing. I'm swearing off poker for life now.
Very good. Yeah, when you told me beforehand that you had a surprise, and I'm thinking, oh, like you set up an interview or something. So this was a very good surprise. I'm glad to hear that you got $87. I hope that you put it into buy a CD with it, you grow it out, you make it your own profit.
Well, yeah, I did buy a Wii game, which is like in a CD disc. So I bought a CD technically. Yes, I did.
Yeah. I have never played poker for money, and I never will. I want to be known as the greatest poker player who never played for money. That's my goal. I think I might be able to pull it off. A couple more Mind Sport Olympiads, and maybe I can get that reputation. But yeah.
Now, it's funny. It's kind of like a bucket list thing because even though I played one tournament in Vegas 2 years ago, it was kind of like an in the moment like vacation sort of thing. You do it once. You know, it really speaks to that I just enjoy poker for the game, not for the stakes of it. You know, like just the it's like playing Monopoly. If you enjoy Monopoly, then you just play because it's Monopoly, not because you're betting on who pays for pizza afterwards. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's my takeaway. It was again. I'm happy I sat down and just proved to myself that I could not make a total fool of myself, even though I kind of didn't really play all that. I was very not very aggressive, but I'm happy to have a story for the podcast, and also happy that I won some money. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for telling it.
And so on that note, looks like we have another spot here for Baxter. I mean, pocket sevens of 2.5 big blinds. I think you have to.
Yeah, you got to put it in.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Is
on here, Billy Baxter, 2 big blinds.
Wow.
Throws his sevens into the muck. And Cloninger finds pocket aces. Wow.
I mean,
We're see on no matter what. Billy Baxter's going to look real smart.
In the hole. Like,
folding his pocket sevens, sitting on his 2 big blinds.
Yeah, that's sick.
What's likely here is that Baxter's thinking, well, this Etheridge guy, he sat down 40 minutes ago, hasn't played a single hand. This might not be the right time for me to take a stand. There is the all-in from Cloninger.
Come on, Stearns. I'm just kidding.
Stearns finds king 10 offsuit. That, of course, not enough to play, given the all-ins ahead of him.
I mean, we'll see if the sevens would have
Every other player quickly folding.
been good enough. Throw diaper.
Etheridge is going to show his cards. Wow.
Is queen?
2 big hands clashing here. Billy Baxter folding sevens. Look at him. A little slight head nod. Very happy to see here that he is not involved in this one. But of course, we could not have faulted him for getting in the mix with pocket sevens. Ace queen versus aces. Etheridge at risk here, and Cloninger 1 step closer to really vaulting his way back up the leaderboard. Here comes the flop. Oh my God! It's a 7 in the middle.
Oh.
Baxter would have been right.
You can see it on his face.
I had a feeling it was going to come.
Of course, doesn't affect outcome between these 2 guys as Etheridge is going to head to the rail.
Only the
15th
case
place.
ace would have.
But Billy Baxter should have known. It always comes 7.
But hey, you know what? He folds that hand. He still goes up 1 notch on the payouts.
Very true. I mean, just look at this. This chip distribution for a second. Fetch at 36 million.
I mean, he's up 6 million from that monster 30 who was out when we were last paying attention. Now, I mean, I think he kind of had like the whole table out chipped almost at this point combined. Though I think it's not quite, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, I think
28.
Baxter's in with what a sick.
Holy moly. All right, so
he's only got 2.5 big blinds. So.
I mean, if he wins this one, then
want to get called here. You got queens, you only got 2.5 big blinds. Somebody put their money in and really allow me to get some chips back. So far, it's folded around the table.
Where are all the pressure cards?
Rico.
Realize everyone's rooting for you. I can't. I might even be rooting for you.
Well, he just doubles up here. So.
Oh, you folded? All right. Yeah. So
nobody
nobody else had a picture card, I don't think, besides him. Wow.
I think somebody had like ace 7. I think Stearns had ace 7.
Oh well, that's right. But okay, but it's not picture card though.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's
all right. So Baxter doubled up there, pretty much.
Pretty much. I mean, he had 1 million, now he had 2 million. So yeah, it's double up.
Well, he has to.
That's the power of the big blind ante when you have like less than 10 big blinds.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, so it's funny because if I had cashed out my chips when I played with Adam's money when I was up to 325, half of that would have been mine. So that's about $60 something. So I managed to get 87, so a little bit above that. So I put a cap on that story, and there you go.
They just folded ace jack suited.
Well, it is fetch. He's running pretty hot, so you got to be careful. Oh, Belly Baxter's in a call of
10-7. Well, if he hits the flop, he hits the flop.
Oh, this is going to go in.
Straight draw. There it is. Well, stop and go action. Look at that. Look at this. Only 775,000.
He folded. He's not got 2 overs and a backdoor club.
Good job. Both his 10 and 7 was still alive.
Oh my God. I'm really surprised at some of his folds. But Baxter he's now tripled up in 2 hands and not being at risk once. That's pretty cool. So
there he is, 8 bigs.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's been playing fairly tight, I've noticed, which is fine. But
I'm going to do the old jump forward a little bit here. That way
we can actually get to.
That's alive. I'm still got ways to go. Oh, ace queen. Yeah, and you can always call us in position, right?
Yeah, I mean, just call, right? What's he? Oh, he's on the button. Yeah, he should call here.
Baxter is short, so he's probably going to fold. And Cloninger doesn't want is second in chips to table, so he's not going to want to get in a big pot against the chip leader. So you're probably not going to get 3-bet by either of them. So that'd be my thought process there. Oh yeah.
All right.
Good job, Rico. Yeah. Good fold, boy. So again, I think now we're down to like in the low teens as far as number of players left. Ooh, this could be a little dicey here.
Well, fetch isn't going anywhere, so
Exactly, exactly like
half a million. What was that?
That's
1 million.
Just a mill ball.
Yeah, just call Rico.
Yeah.
Yep. 6 of clubs. If fetch hits this, he's officially running high. He's been hitting a lot.
He's gonna check. So yeah, that's like a check. Yeah.
Second pair.
So so King Jack is now ahead of. Oh, he's just gonna give up right there. I think it's probably a check back because he's not gonna. Oh, okay.
1 million.
I think it's a bad bet because you're leaving yourself vulnerable to being blown off the hand by a shove or something.
Yeah, let's see if fetch does it.
And there's really not too many hands. I think that they're gonna just call this too.
Fetch is thinking about it. Put him on.
I mean, he bet so small. He bet less than a third of the pot. It just kind of screams, call me.
And he's gonna fold. He'll fold.
The way he's holding those cards.
I think he's thinking fold or cold. He's not thinking.
I think he flashed the king of diamonds and folded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good fold. We'll fast forward a little bit more to the next hand. That's the beauty of starting late is that you can do this. Fetch is right back in there, ace 9. He gets it back, so he gets something back. All right. Fahey, king, queen. Here we go. She's under the gun.
One queen's dead.
Under the gun, so you got the whole table.
2 queens are dead.
Uh-oh. Fahey, this is 2. Wow. I like the fold for Fahey's sake, but it's tight fold. I think it's the wrong fold.
All right, one more to get through. Just gonna fold.
One more.
Oh.
Oh,
he's casting for a 10. I thought he called for a moment.
This is for 40% of Fori's chips, and he knows that she just did this under the gun. So, and at the same time, it's under the gun. Another ways, you're gonna be in the big blind the next hand, so you don't want to have a 30-year stack, in the middle. Wow, I'm surprised by both the 6-6 and the ace-8 suited folding, but I guess that's just me.
Yeah, I would have called.
I mean, I'm happy for Fahey, but I think one of those two. You're closing the action off the ace-8 suited. 6s, you're in the middle of the table. Okay, fine. You don't want to get 3-bet or something, but anyway, they're in the day 4, not me. So
Baxter folds ace-6.
Ace deuce, your favorite hand.
Ugh. All right, Stern, what you got, buddy? What you gonna do?
Stearns.
1.05 million. Oh,
Hey. Oh, this is great. I think, given how tight this table's been, yeah, he folded, yeah. Another nice pickup. Again, so Baxter and Fahey, a couple of key spots there where just how tight the table is going. If you know the table is going to be on the tighter side of folding and those like sort of, gray areas, I think definitely aggression is key then.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, let's say, Sam, you are fetch. Your mind is now transplanted into his brain. What you have such a huge chip lead. What would be sort of your strategy using your stack like this? Would you be raising?
Yeah, raising a lot. I mean, it's pretty simple. Everybody's playing so tight. They're making a lot of folds here.
Oh, okay. This is
ace king.
Oh, 1.5.
Deuces. Yeah, I mean deuces. I could fold that, but yeah, I mean, I'd be pushing the action a bit here.
What would be your range for those raises though, and how much? How would you raise size, and what would be your range really?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think 3x raises are good. I like 3x raises, and yeah, and obviously, any ace, suited high kings, suited high queens, just really push people around. Try to just pick up pots, pick up small pots many times as I can.
Because with the blinds and the big blind ante, that's 1 million in chips. So if you can raise, even if you raise 3x, and if you win, once, it pretty much pays for itself the next time. So I understand there, especially since the majority of this table we have, this is 7-handed, and 4 of the 7 players have 17 big blinds or less.
Yeah, I mean, it's Yeah, I mean, you got to be. I think you should be pushing people more, just trying to get people in tough spots, try to get people out of the tournament. Really get going.
Mhm. But also, there is merit to just picking up, the blinds and antes just over and over again, even if you
Yeah.
knock anybody out. If you're, you, as Joe McKean would say, if you have all the chips, you can't be knocked out of the tournament.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say hypotheticals. I mean, I would have to be really looking at the action.
Right.
I would have obviously somebody on the rail telling me what people are folding, things like that.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure anybody's doing. I haven't seen
We got blind versus blind. Ooh.
Well, they've been playing so tight that Cloninger's folding.
I know, but oh my god, wow! I would have thought about it a little bit longer than that, at least. Even if I would have folded it still, I would have thought about it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I mean, a suited king. I mean, Queen 10, Queen 9, Queen 8 suited. You're ahead of all those, and I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, same here.
I would just think about it a little bit longer. I wouldn't just instantly it almost felt like he was folding into a 3, which I mean it's a 3, but ace 3 suited, maybe you call that.
He folds ace deuce.
Granted, I folded pretty tight. I was playing pretty tight at the table. So the poker room I went to, they had 2 different sort of I guess prize potentials going on. One was this thing called quadzillas, where every hour between 2 through ace, if you made the 4 of a kind of that was whatever that hour was in, you'd win a cash prize just no matter what. So if it was in the quad 9s hour and you made quad 9s, you'd win like $1,000. And every cycle where no one wins that prize, it goes up by $50. So each ranking of the hands was different prize win. And then additionally, every hour, whoever makes the best high hands, so that's aces full of kings or better, in that 1 hour wins a flat prize as well of like $2,000 or whatever. So it incentivized players just to play pocket whatevers or ace x, because if you could make those big hands, then that's just a layover on top of whatever you'd win that hand.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened here. It looks like Stern accidentally 3-bet pre-flop or something, just off of the body language. I can't. We obviously have the sound muted, but there seemed to be some sort of mix-up. He flopped 2 pairs, so it was kind of interesting.
Well, when I was playing the cash game, some people wouldn't. If you were sitting on the side of the dealer and there was action on the other side of the dealer, it's kind of hard to see.
Yeah,
you can just kind of go like that. So sometimes some mistakes or misses were made. So. It's funny when we discussed the 1-drops a while back. I thought it was odd that players could count or miss bets with the chip denominations. But really, it makes me, think that when you're in a room, there's a lot of noise, a lot of lights. You're thinking about certain things. It's not that hard to miss something or to just your brain to miss one detail. So I feel like I slightly take back what I said back then.
Yeah, Cloninger just folded 6s again, and Baxter had 4s, so Cloninger would have been crushing him. Wow. But Baxter manages to pick up the blinds here.
Man, it just seems like Fahey and Baxter need to just type a full double up, because otherwise they're just really handcuffed still. And I'm not quite sure how much more time we have for this level, but really once that next level hits, it's just going to hit them even harder, because obviously, the next level will be I think the 250K, 500K level, and so that's a 25% increase to the blind size. So you really want to have your stack go up by that much in accordance. So at least, we'll see if they can do that.
So fetch
an ace in the big blind, small blinds. Fourie has 5.6, so too big to like shove over him, but definitely worthy of a raise. 7 deuce.
Okay, I get it. Just the ace.
Yeah. All right.
There's been a lot of card showings thus far. Are we caught up?
Oh no, I think Fahey's being moved to balance the table or something. She's off the table, I think, right?
Oh yeah, but have we caught up with the stream here?
Not yet. We're about, I think, 10 minutes short.
Oh, okay, because it kept.
No, that's me. That's me doing that.
Oh, okay, that's you doing that. Oh, I thought that. Okay. All right, so Lay's been moved, so we're down to probably 12-handed here.
Or 13. No, you're right, 12, because if they were at 7, they'd have to be at 5. So yeah, we're probably 12-handed right now. So we're really getting close. And
Stearns, obviously.
It's too bad we don't see what the chip counts are on the other table. That'd be kind of handy to see how much trouble Fahey is or isn't in.
Yeah, so Ricobono, yeah, 7-4, that should be folding. Oh, Baxter's got ace queen, so Stern's got to be calling here.
He's always folding this time.
Yeah, 9-9s are just too good. I mean, I know that it's nearly half your stack, but come on.
It's not. I think it's about 1/3 actually. He's got 8 million behind. And
oh yeah. So you got to call here.
If he calls and loses, he still has like 5.5 million, 5.4 million. So it's still playable. I think this is a call. He's getting 2.5 to 1, so he just has to not be up against double pair, and it's a good call. Unless with 12 left, they're probably not in a pay jump. I think probably it's like 11 and 12 at the same pay jump.
I thought he was about to call there with the greens in his hand.
I think he just counted
his stack.
Yeah. There we go. No. What is he doing? Like,
just like with his tips, sir.
Come on, I mean, you shouldn't be raising under the gun +1 with a short stack in the big blind.
There he goes. He's in.
There we go. All right.
And Baxter, and it's a flip. Once again, a big point flip here. Billy Baxter's tournament life on the line.
All right, so this will be it for Bax, man.
I wasn't paying attention to the folded cards. I don't know if there was anything folded.
It's not just Baxter fans with a rooting interest here.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
In the pocket, Donnie. If Baxter wins this, he's way back in it. King is 7-6. Oh, great flop turns.
All right,
backdoor clubs, an ace or queen or a backdoor straight is what Baxter is looking for.
Yeah, 10 of clubs on the turn.
6 of clubs.
Okay.
Now.
All right.
Baxter, 30% to double up. If he doesn't hit, he's going to be eliminated.
Oh!
Gets there.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, I thought that was a 9 for a second at the end.
I in my head, my brain wirings thought that Stern's had 10s, so that was going to be a full house for him.
Yeah, me too. Like for whatever reason, I was just
yeah.
Yeah. All right, good. So Baxter's in it.
He's back in it. Unfortunately, he was in the big blind, so he doesn't get a full double up. You could say almost full double up because of the ante gets paid in first, but
that's still workable.
Absolutely. And now he is 4th in chips at the table. Yeah. After being down to 2.5 big blinds, 1 million, not too long ago. Within this level, I think it was. So,
yeah, quite a comeback.
Absolutely. So let's just do a little more skipping forward. So we're almost back to caught up for the stream.
Ryan Clevenger folds, and so now Baxter is.
Ali leapfrogs him, and now he's in 3rd at the table in chips. And is really one hand away from being second at the table chip. So good for him. Good. I think we're almost caught up. We're so close. We're probably 1 hand behind now. That's another fold for Stearns. Almost there. I might just
almost there.
All right, we're live.
We've been podcasting for like an hour, and now we're finally
live. But again, that's again. Whenever I'm watching like main event content from when I had work or something, I watch it with the idea that I can just skip through the slower parts and cover a lot more ground in less time. So,
yep. Well, I hope you enjoyed the episode, folks. So we're gonna.
Yeah, I'm not sure how long we'll watch. I think they're just playing down to the final table. I would assume that's usually how.
Yeah.
But then I've noticed though that they have actually been playing down to like the final 5 or 6 sometimes too. So it's not always consistent from event to event. So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see how long this goes. I like to go to bed early, so.
Yes, I want to be respectful of Sam's daily schedule, and also I have work tomorrow, so it's also good not to be up too late. Even though I'll be up for a while though.
So fetch 10-6.
10-6 is just going to limp, which is, I think, the right move. You should be limping when you have a big chip lead or a lot of your range. So let's shove. Remember, the last time I saw 8-4 shove, besides Dario Sammartino, which was on the turn, was Negreanu versus Martin in the 2013 Asia Pacific, where he shoved 8-4 against Ace-8.
Right.
This is going to be the first player to bet wins the hand.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, probably gonna be fetch.
King of spades.
There
he goes.
Although it would be a pretty boss level shove right here if you just found the shove here. Although that is not the face and the body language of someone who's gonna raise all in on a bluff.
Yeah, it's an interesting that he just immediately did that. I would have thought, okay, he's either just going to snap fold or whatever.
Right. Nope, and nope.
Yeah, this is Fetch's tournament to lose. I mean, just
well, we don't know the chip counts on the other table. I would assume there's not some of more chips in them. I mean, I would be very surprised. Not impossible technically, but I would be very surprised.
Yeah, I doubt it.
But it's again, it could be kind of a Joe McKeon-like scenario where you see the action from table to table being very different when you have such a huge chip leader.
Right.
As you approach that bubble of the final table. I mean, it's again not quite as big a bubble as the main event final table is, but main event final table is still like its own statistic in the poker world, so it still means something.
Yep. So that Baxter's got chips. Let's see him.
He's raising into Fetch's button, so just be mindful of that. Oh, this could be a shove right here. I mean, Ace Queen did win in a hand that starts as in last time, so why wouldn't it work for him this time?
Yeah, I mean, Ace Queen with 11 bigs.
He's the second short stack of the table, which he's probably like the second or third short stack of the whole tournament by this point. So I think you got to just go with it. Wow.
Okay.
Hey. I mean, Baxter did size it up to 1.1. It wasn't like a min raise or a 1 million raise, but Queens.
Queens for Forey.
Good folds by the Ace Queen.
Wow, Forey.
1, 2, 3.
Has been waiting for a while.
Calls this, I'm going to be so disappointed. I know he won't. But
that is, of course, what
he worked so hard to get up to this many chips. Now
he didn't snap fold then.
Birds there just. He should have 3-bet jammed this, so he's dodged an incredible bullet. I mean,
we've seen so many folds that end up being like the right fold, like one or two actions later.
It seems like this event.
Okay, please fold, dude.
Of all the other ones that we've seen so far, really bringing out the best in these players as far as reading the hands of the players they're not up against. Baxter earlier folding sevens when aces were behind him.
For over a 30 or step, stack to work so hard for. There you go. Attaboy.
I'll show you.
Attaboy. Good fold. He's trying to show it. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been showing a lot, so
it's funny. I mean, there's definitely a lot of cards showing at in the cash game I played at too. I showed a few hands. I didn't show all the hands, but I showed a few hands just for fun. And again, with the series event, it's a different kind of atmosphere. I feel like these old school players. They're used to growing up playing the game for fun, probably. So I understand maybe showing some hands here and there.
Yeah, I mean, I like the seniors event. I think it's cool to have an opportunity to see some of these older players in the mix. It'll be fun to see, Brian Rast and Justin Bonomo and all these people when they eventually get old enough to play this event. Them playing this event.
Right. Oh, look, Ace Queen again. It's been the luckiest unlucky hand or the unluckiest lucky hand.
It's a weird hand. Dude, come on. Come on, just make it make it 2x if you're not feeling it.
Make it 875. That's what I would do. 875. Obviously, he didn't do that, but
how much was it?
Let's think it's 1.1 again.
1.1.
That's been pretty common. Almost 3x. It's a little bit more than the size of the pot before the raise, so that it's not quite as a good price to call from the big blind or something like that.
Jack 5.
The Jackson 5. That's how it got started. And Baxter folds. So Ace 9, good fold. Good fold.
Wow.
A lot of good. They've been playing pretty tight, but for the most part, they've been pretty good folds. So it's kind of hard to be too hard on them.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're a tight player, so I imagine I would say 90% of these folds you would probably do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Sounds like 100%, 110%, but that's okay. So, I was trying to think in my head, would I have rather have won an MSO medal or won $87? And I actually thought it was a tougher choice than I originally thought it was going to be, but I'd ultimately go for the $87. I don't know about
you. Well, it depends on what medal. I mean, I don't know. Like a gold medal at this point, it would be like, I think $250, I think, at this point for a gold medal.
Okay. A bronze for you then. Another bronze for you.
Another bronze? Yeah, 87. I think I don't know. I mean, again, I'm a freelance writer, so $87. That could go a long way for me. So I think I would take the 87. It's my white whale, a gold medal at the MSO. You know, I've done 4 of them, so Fetch has 10s.
Couple of 10s for Fetch. He makes it 1.5, so even bigger than this already aggressive raising of habits we've seen so far.
Full ace 5 and
Queen
10.
10.
You could defend.
Nah, if there was a min raise, yes, but more than 3x raise is a fold.
Yeah, no, he's not calling. We've been playing so tight. Yep, there he goes.
Which I guess it means that Fetch's raise accomplished the correct, outcome. I mean, if he doesn't want Queen 10 to call when he's up 10s, then okay, but you want Queen 10 calling you when you have 10s, So I don't know.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know if they're thinking that as they're making raises.
That's true. Not to mention, again, he's adding to his chip lead. It's not, I guess if you win $1 million chips in a hand, that's always a good thing. Whereas you risk losing, 2 million to win the extra million. Is it worth it?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I was actually hoping this stream would cover more kind of the nitty gritty of the tournament, not just the lead into the final table, because I feel like we don't often get a chance to really watch events like this in like the day 2, day 3, early day 4 parts of the game, but that's okay. Baxter, it looks like he's going to go to work.
Button raise, Queen 10.
2 million. Yep. 4 deuce. That's a fold, unless you want to go crazy. Stearns, ace king, this is a shove. And this is a fold again. So Baxter's going to be down back to 5.5 million from.
He just picked. He had 2 bad times to raise, unless he decides to call here and really.
I mean, let's see. So he's 2 to 1 if he calls. He's got to put in 3 million to win less than 6. So yeah, mathematically it's the right fold, no matter how you look at it. The Baxter deck back now, he's the short stack just by a hair, but again, 13 big blinds still beats 2 big blinds we had earlier. So yeah. So something I mentioned to you earlier is that the day 1B chip leader of the Millionaire Maker event yesterday was Zilong Zhang, one of the MVPs of the main event last year. So pretty cool is to see him make some noise again in that in a big entry event, and not buy-in, but the number of players. And it'd be pretty cool to see him make a deep run in that event. I watch that again.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a good guy. In terms of his entertainment value, he brought a lot.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to see that.
Absolutely. And I do want to kind of have like this checklist of players I really want to see when we're in Vegas. And so he's definitely on that list. And even just talk about the players we were most looking forward to seeing in Vegas, either in action or off the felt. So obviously, our boy Adam Grosek, Mike Novinsky, Greg Raymer, we will do our best to have some memories of them. And if we can run to Mastow again, that'd be amazing. I'm not sure who tops your list as far as who you want to see besides them.
Well, Jamie Gold, of course, gotta see Jamie Gold. Yeah, I mean, again, like in terms of, I'm not planning on asking celebrities for photographs or autographs. I kind of just want to leave them alone, and also just have my own memories. I want to have the photograph of memory rather than an actual photograph. So I just want to see some fun stuff when we're in Vegas. Just try to if we could also maybe get on camera a little bit and advertise the podcast a little bit, that'd be kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie, that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I just want to see cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So Fury to shoved here and Fetch.
Fetch raised and
okay.
Pair against top pair for better kicker. So kind of a setup spot for Fetch. I mean, I guess he bet 2.5 million. I don't know. I wasn't watching the action super closely when this happened, but I guess it's top pair. You can't do much about it. And you have some backdoor streets in there.
6 on the Turner.
And it can still come chop somehow, right? No chop chance now. So
it's the 8. He's
miserable.
This is it. It's over.
Close.
6.
Close. It was
I thought it was the 8 for a moment.
A non-club number. That's all. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So here we go. This guy's up to 12 million now. Fetch is still at 30 million, so this is still workable for him. And Jamie Gold, after all, encountered adversity at his final table. So
Mm-hmm. What else would I want to see? I mean, obviously, just any top players at all. If we're in the hallway, like walking to the bathroom, or like it's a break, I'm not going to feel as guilty about saying. I might say like, "Hey, good luck" or something. I wouldn't ask for an autograph in every spot. I did receive as a gift not too long ago. Where did I put it? Somewhere around here. Oh, here it is. As a gift, Doyle Brunson's Super System, and I read the first like 50 or so pages, and I did sort of take to heart what Brunson said in an early chapter about when the game is aggressive, play tight, and when it's tight, play aggressive. And I definitely, I mean, it's a relatively simple poker saying, but I definitely embodied that in my 4 hours at the cash game table. And I guess you could say, as far as following that advice on this table here, Fetch, I mean, he's being aggressive, but I don't think he's pushing it like too far. I mean, even the hand that he lost, he had top pair with you know, a kicker that wasn't great, but it was, you know, usable with the board there. And so again, and now let's look like the blinds have gone up to 250 and $500,000.
Yep.
So again, Baxter now at 10 big blinds, still a lot better than 2 big blinds, but definitely I think he's more likely just to kind of do like either a shove or like a 4x raise or something kind of silly. That's basically a shove.
Right.
What would be?
We're gonna have to see. Yeah, I mean, everybody's playing so tight. So
yeah.
Oh,
Baxter, there we go. And Baxter, even though he's short, he kind of has a good number of chips in front of him. You know, like he has a lot of the 25Ks and 100Ks, so he actually has a fun stack to riffle with and stuff. You know, other players don't have as many.
Yeah, exactly. That's the advantage about having all those sort of small chips with you that you can kind of.
And it looks like there's 4 colors in play right now. I mean, there's like a couple oranges in there. I assume those are 1 million, and then there's green 25K, blue 100K, and the red are 500,000. I'm not sure.
What you doing, Stearns?
Yeah, just shove this one. Why not? Let's just cannonball a stack. Why not?
So that.
Fetch.
Let's just tilt with queen 3 here.
It's not queen 4. If it was queen 3, queen 4, you would. Oh, this is a.
Well, we haven't seen Fury with a lot of chips, so
he just got these, but he is in the big blind, so he's got to put in 700,000, and the pot is 2.45. So it's a pretty good price to see a flop, and obviously a set. Is it going to be a no set, no bet, or is it going to be something else?
Okay.
So it's definitely a scary flop for both players because the big blind's going to call if like Jack 10, Queen 10, King 10, King Jack sometimes. Baxter obviously has the gut shots, but no flush options. It's probably going to be it's probably going to go check bet fold. Yeah. So.
All right.
By Baxter there.
Bet 1.5 million there.
I think it's interesting because he's so short, so it's a pretty high chunk of his remaining stack after the initial raise.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But again, when you have 4s, it's kind of like even if you're ahead, you're not happy about it.
That's true.
It can come counterfeit double paired board or obviously any high card there. So if that so Fournier, he had 12 million. Now he's on 10.5 million. So again, he just lost about a quarter of what he just won in that all in.
Yeah, I mean, the blinds are so high now. You really have to, even with 20 bigs, you really still have to be careful here.
Mm-hmm. And if I'm in this spot right here, if I'm in any besides Stearns, who's the shortest, if I'm in anyone else's besides Fetch's shoes here, I'm probably playing super tight because I'm at the foul table. That's just me. If I haven't been in this spot obviously before, I'm going for the foul table. That's my next benchmark to make.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose so. I mean, my goal is to just play the best poker I can in each spot. Right. So yeah, it's hard to talk hypotheticals, but I mean, on the other hand, everybody's playing so tight. So if you play a little aggressive, you can pick up more chips.
I'm not sure if I like how far away Fournier's stack is from him. You see how there's a good space between.
Yeah.
Him? A little bit too far. I don't know. It almost feels like they blind in the chart on his left.
Yeah, that's kind of funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, Riccobono, yep, just check. Oh, I thought Fetch raised. He just limped.
No, it's just mixing up, I guess, a little bit.
All right.
I swear, Queen 10-10 is like one of the most common paired board flops I've ever seen. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah. All right, this ought to take it.
Probably. I mean, look at his
Unless-
face. I mean, that is not the face of someone who's like, I'm going to do a very creative check, min raise.
Or just float with an ace. Float with an ace.
I haven't really seen any floats. I mean, that's the thing is that when you're playing this shallow stack, you don't really see too many kind of creative floats like this. It's usually pretty ABC at this point.
Yep, is Fetch going to show? He does show the fours.
It was the best hand, so I mean, if you're Rico Bono, you can't be too unhappy, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a good fold.
I mean, obviously you have equity, but nonetheless. Here we go for another hand. I might even just unmute it. That way we can see maybe if they'll say how many players left, because there could be down to 11 for all we know. Maybe we don't know.
We get copyright strike and our channel's going to get deleted.
Speaking of our channel, guys, I want to say a shout out to all of the new listeners and new viewers we've had over the last 3 weeks. We've had a tremendous amount of viewership and a few new subscribers in our mix there. Thank you for everyone who's been growing to our little project here, especially a lot of attention for one episode in particular, our post Vegas episode that we covered, also the 2010 main event part 1. I guess the algorithm for YouTube is really favoring that particular video, but I'm not going to complain. It's been awesome. We've also had some more viewership of our interviews of Raymer and Ernest Wiggins. So again, thank you to everyone who listens to us and who gives us such kind words in the comment section. We're going to keep going this project. This has been a great summer so far.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun doing this. I feel like the episodes are getting better as time's gone on. Ben and I are having fewer ums and likes and more sort of focus, which is kind of unfortunate because we're sort of running out of content. So if y'all have any suggestions for things you could be reviewing, I do really like commentating, so I'm happy to comment on as many events as we can. We'll try to, maybe we can get an episode out before we go to Vegas. That is next week. I don't know. And again, I'm still kind of on the fence in terms of like how we'll obviously do post-Vegas stuff, but if we're gonna do a vlog or like a mini-sode while we're in Vegas, I'm still, I've never really done vlogs. I kind of prefer sort of long form episodes where we're talking at length about a topic instead of just, oh my God, we went to Vegas today and we went to Area 15 and then we ate at a buffet, But yeah, I mean, we'll figure something out, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one idea I have is that we're gonna take a lot of photos and maybe small videos here and there, and maybe we just have like a PowerPoint that we can kind of go through our trip via some of the photos, show off who we met, who we got photos with, how Adam did. We have ideas. Obviously, how the trip goes will shape what we can do with it. I mean, if we go and like Adam busted hand number 1, that's gonna obviously affect how we'll cover the trip afterwards. But we'll kind of take it step by step and go from there. But I'm very excited here, and I know that Sam probably will be leaving before I leave, but I will do my best to support Adam and plus to sort of see as many cool poker players as possible. So it'll be fun. All sequels are better than the first one, right? So that's just the laws.
Exactly. Yeah, all of them are better. Yes. I'm flying in on July 4th. It's a long flight, so I'm really going to be in Vegas starting July 5th, and then I'm leaving on July 8th. And Ben's schedule is a little bit different than mine. If Adam makes the final table, then of course I will, fly back to Vegas. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I have to just, I'm a freelance writer, so I have to kind of just go where the gigs take me. So I got to get back home to do that. So,
right. So, Pokergo play. I've never played it. I'm not sure I ever will, but there it is.
Yeah, I've never played it either. Yeah, Poker Stars is enough for me when it works on my computer because I have to update it all the time and whatever.
Yeah, I for some reason my computer refuses to update it, so I can't play right now. But if anybody does see Sam and Poker Stars and wants to give him a shot, give him like beat him in a hand or whatever, we'll give you a shout out in our next podcast episode, and that'd be cool. Yep, and if you ever want to be interviewed or whatever, let us know, and we're happy to have you on. That's still, yeah, again, in prep for the trip, also it's kind of in the main poker season. I feel it's kind of inappropriate to really ask folks to for an interview when they're playing poker every day. It just doesn't seem right. You got to conserve your energy. So I'll definitely renew my efforts to find players after the main crux of the World Poker season's over. And again, those are always just so amazing experiences for us.
Yeah, I mean we're going to be busy, so it'll be a fun vacation. Only a couple days. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see the money burst, which is kind of a shame. But hopefully, I'll like Vegas enough that I'll be willing to come back next year and see it as much more than what we're seeing this year. Hopefully, I will. I mean, I've heard all sorts of things about Las Vegas. I've read Hunter Thompson's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, so it'll take me some time to settle in and get the groove going.
Right. So let's see. So otherwise, I don't know. Just kind of still, I think we're still 12-handed probably. I'm gonna unmute it now. We'll see if they say how many players are left.
For the good cards, and at this point of the tournament, that seems like a very solid strategy.
I thought his strategy was just talking to the rail.
That seems like it's all he's doing. He's talking to his rail, getting up, moving around.
I do.
Is that a tell?
I do want to speak to the quality of commentary by Renko and by whoever's in the booth with him. I have found his commentating lacking. Actually, I feel like sometimes he misses the action of the hand, or he is like one step behind the action, like he misses a raise. And so definitely some of the chat has been a bit more negative towards him. I feel like this particular poker season than maybe it's like last year, for example. And again, it's we don't know what their setup is. Is he in a trailer with like the headphones on, watching the feed or whatever? I mean, I don't think it's not no shame to him. It's great for him that he earned this gig. It's just something that I think it's a fair critique if it's expressed in a polite manner.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have to give him points because he mentioned the name of our podcast on the show live. So I like that. Yeah, I like Remco fine. I mean, I think, obviously Lon and Norm are my favorite team, but obviously Nick Schulman and Ali Najad are also gold. It's hard to find a balance between, I think, talking about the game and also talking about other things. And I think Remco does a little too far into not talking as much about poker as he could. But on the other hand, he's not, like a super, not that he's a bad poker player. I'm not saying that, but he's not, he just thinks about the game not at the same level as other people do. So
right, and also, with the Pokergo streams, sometimes they have a YouTube stream. And sometimes they have only a Pokergo stream, or it's the same broadcast on both networks. And so they're oftentimes between what's in the chat of one of the particular chats, or they're talking about like a Pokergo giveaway, like when we hit X number of likes, we're going to give out a free hoodie or whatever. And I did win. To be fair, I did win one of those giveaways 2 years ago, so I can't be too negative about those giveaways in general. Although I do find that they are so focused on commenting on those giveaways that it takes away from the commentary on the poker action sometimes too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Granted, I would much rather have my random box of crap versus like one hoodie that they've been giving away. So they've definitely been a bit more stingy on the giveaways this year so far compared to what I won 2 years ago. Although there is those like Pokergo like sweepstakes, like win like a seat into $1 million free roll, whatever they send a billion emails out for. I would be very curious to see what kind of player wins that contest, because I did enter it just for the heck of it, not that I actually expect to win. But if I did in fact win a ticket, that'd be pretty incredible too, though. But unlikely.
Yeah, I wouldn't enter it because, again, I'm not going to play for cash ever. I'm going to be best player who never played for cash. I don't know what's going on here. So
let's find out right now on mute.
We're going to be right back for continued coverage of the 1K Seniors Championship.
Some sort of break.
All right. I don't know, Sam, you think you want to sign off here? I feel like
I think so. Yeah.
So we're gonna stop sharing that screen. It's gone. All right. So we're back to normal here. I think that about wraps up. I was very happy with our conversation, Sam, during the stream. We kind of mixed in a lot of different topics and watched some good poker action. I think if you guys enjoyed this as much as I did, let us know in the comment section. We definitely could continue maybe another episode or two of this style over the next couple of weeks, either before or after our trip to Vegas. It depends on how the streaming schedule works out. We actually had to continually reschedule this episode because of the our own schedule conflicts, and then the Go changing the streaming conflicts. So apologies for the delay between our last episode and this one, but that's just kind of the nature of the poker schedule world.
Yeah, Pokergo really just needs to have a consistent schedule. And okay, it's not going to be the final table. Just show it anyway. I want to see what the coverage is. Let's just see it.
I kind of like the final table bubble, so I think other players would too, or other watchers would too. So it'd be kind of cool to see if the final table is 6 players, 7-handed. That's a table of 3, table of 4. That's very unique that you won't see until you get down to that many players to end things out. So I don't know.
Yeah, right. You are. Yeah.
But anyway, guys, that about covers this time. Until next time, enjoy your poker, enjoy your TV, and enjoy your poker on TV.
Take care.